For me, the most enjoyable Magic Smoking Monkey parodies have always been the ones that demonstrate appreciation and affection for the original material. To recognize these qualities, of course, I have to know the source too. I had never watched Game of Thrones until a day before the opening performance of the Monkees' production of GoT Parady, in which God is represented by the Game of Thrones logo. But when I heard that only the show's first season would be spoofed, I realized I could bring myself up to speed by watching those first 10 episodes over the web. Ah, the sacrifices one makes to be a responsible critic, taking in 10 hours of epic sword and sorcery featuring plenty of nudity and graphic sex. As a result of my selfless binge, I can say GoT Parady is monkey business at its best. I'm not sure what I would have made of GoT Parady if I hadn't binged beforehand. There are plenty of purely comic bits to enjoy, such as the silly swordplay, the animal impersonations, and the run-in-place chase. I might have laughed at the scene in which Max Knock as Loris waxes hair from the back of Jason Cryer as Renly, but I would not have known why this was such a clever takeoff on the original scene. I would have had a hard time following some elements of the story, although Cryers did an amazing job of condensing 10 hours of action into 75 minutes. I certainly would not have recognized the striking physical resemblance some of the actors bore to their counterparts on HBO. Suki Peters as the evil Queen Cersei, Kimberly Burns as Cersei's despicable son Joffrey, Nancy Nye as the upright Catelyn Stark, and Chris Powers as the scheming courtier Littlefinger. Nor would I have noticed how well these actors and the rest of the cast had adopted the bearing and the manner of the originals, including Ben Ritchie as the virtuous Ned Stark, Paul Devine as the voracious King Robert, Casey Boland with shoes on his knees as Tyrion the Dwarf, Jason Puff as the equivocal Jorah, Shannon Nara as both Daenerys and Sansa, Cody Jarvis as Arya Stark, and Andrew Pearson as Robb Stark. Everyone in the cast had at least two roles. Ed Cole displayed remarkable versatility as the self and sister-infatuated Jaime Lannister, the scheming eunuch Varys, the master swordsman Syrio, and others. Ditto for John Wolbers as Lord Tywin, Maester Pycelle, and others. Carl Overly was utterly shameless as Khal Drogo, Lisa, and others. When I say John Fisher plays Samwise, you might think I have mixed up my epic fantasies, but Fisher's portrayal works for both Samwise and Samwell. This isn't the only clever reference to other Magic Smoking Monkey parodies. The discipline of the cast is a tribute to Donna Northcott's direction. Amy Kelly's costumes distinguish nicely between different groups. I don't know whether to credit her or props designer Christopher Speth for the prosthetic nudity, but it was a hoot, like so much of this production.
Yeah, well, I'm not familiar with Game of Thrones at all, so I wasn't able to get as much out of it as you did. But I did think they played it with the proper parody degree of seriousness, which is good to see. Sometimes they can just be silly, and this was silly and serious, so it was funny.
Yes, I agree.